Hello and welcome to day 48 of me trying to teach myself how to draw. As always, I started off with a 1-minute figure drawing study and I just filled up this whole page. Then I went on to my Bridgman studies and I started the chapter where he describes how to really construct the form. And I agree with him on most parts, except he says that the head is square, and although I like square heads for helping to get the planes of the head and face right and in proportion, I'm not the biggest fan of like just using a square as a head. Like, I'll draw a square and then draw the head inside or vice versa, but that's just me. Anyways, on to today's main drawing. It is another full figure, and I tried a different way of constructing it. So instead of putting down like, I don't know, stiff forms or guidelines like cylinders and squares and stuff like that, I went ahead and I did some figure drawing to try and get the flow of the figure down, and then I went in and I put the curved box for the rib cage and the square for the pelvis, and then I used what I learned doing my muscle draw overs and everything else to help fill in the limbs and everything else, and it went a lot better today than it did day after last, because the figure is definitely not as stiff, and that's really what I wanted to fix big time. And I did. I think the head is a little bit off, and the shoulder that's bent holding the spear, I'm not sure if it needs to go down or if the elbow needs to come up. I think the elbow needs to come up. And the legs were slightly off, and I had to go back and redraw in the curve line on the side of the torso where the arm is sticking straight out because it was just too stiff and boxy. I have a tendency to draw everything thicker than it should be. So his torso is wider than it should be. The bent knee probably needs to come down or be rounded out a little bit more. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know I am kind of picking it apart, like I do every time I do one of these, but I just want to reiterate that I'm very happy with how this turned out. I'm just picking things apart so I can find my weak spots and work on them. But if you guys spot anything that I didn't mention, please feel free to go ahead and mention them in the comments, because oftentimes I am blind to my own follies. But yeah, that was today, and I will see you guys tomorrow.